Hey everybody, and welcome back to Lindsey's Little Library. So today is the first BookList Thursday of October, and traditionally we tend to take a little spooky vibe within the month of October, but we're going to change it up slightly this year. We are celebrating Banned Book Week is happening right now. It is a celebration of books that tend to make it onto banned book lists, and being an advocate for libraries, I feel I have to fight for there to be no banned books, especially within the public library system. I don't want anyone else dictating what I should or should not read. I believe that is up to me to decide for not only myself, but my kids. So we're going to talk about some banned books we have on our shelves. I have some that I have read, some that I haven't read, that I proudly display because, again, I'm not a fan of banning books, ever. Don't care. Are there books I disagree with? Absolutely, but I'm not going to tell someone else that they shouldn't. I'm not going to take that option away from somebody else. I was going to say, I've told plenty of people books that they shouldn't read, but they don't have to listen to me. I'm not taking them off of shelves and taking that opportunity away. That's what I'm not a fan of. So anyways, hopefully that clears things up. First one I want to talk about is Mouse. This is a graphic novel. This talks about World War II. It is a very descriptive, it leaves nothing to the imagination of what happened to a specific family. So we have a father and a son. Art Spiegelman is the father and his son is a cartoonist. And so as the father is explaining what happened to him, the son is drawing and depicting this within this graphic novel. We have mice and cats. So the Nazis are cats and the Jews are the mice. And it's raw. I think it's banned because of how raw it is. And then you also have another story with the relationship between the father and son. And because Vladik went through this, there's definitely some lingering trauma, and his son is having a hard time connecting to his dad. So it's, I believe, a 3-volume graphic novel. My daughter has read this. We have had fantastic conversations about it. I highly recommend it. So I'll be right back because apparently somebody needs to go outside. Hold please. Every time I record, she needs to go outside. I don't know what it is, but she's out there now. We're good for a hot minute. The next book I want to talk about is The 57 Bus. This is by Dashka Slater. This book is so full of some really good things and really good topics to chat about, especially if your child reads it. This would be a really great book club book as well. So we have one teenager in a skirt, one teenager with a lighter, one moment that changes both of their lives forever. I believe it's based off of a true story. So we have Sasha and Richard. If it wasn't for this 57 bus, they would have never met. They take the same bus home from school. They're high school students in Oakland. It's one of the most diverse cities in the country, but they live in two totally different worlds. Sasha's middle-class foothills, and Richard lives in the economically challenged flatlands, and they take the same bus to get to their schools. This follows a very reckless, spontaneous act. The question is it an act based out of hatred? But there's something Richard does that really changes Sasha's life forever. He's facing hate crimes. Sasha he starts her skirt on fire, and she's got horrible burns because of it. The reason this is banned is the hate crime element of it and the LGBTQ themes within this book. Yet it's such a great story and a really great lesson about how to treat people. You don't always have to agree with people, but there's a line that you do not cross. So really great book. I believe one of my girls has read it. One still needs to read it. So, but love it. Next book I have is Jodi Picoult's 19 Minutes. I could honestly hold up the entire stack of Jodi Picoult books because Jodi has a way of pushing what your beliefs are, and she's going to question them and push them slightly to really make you do some internal monologue about, why do I think this way? Should I think this way? Could I think of it something else? Is there anything else that could be true? I picked 19 Minutes because 19 Minutes focuses on a school shooting. And not only do we get the perspective of victims, we get perspective of the shooter, which I believe is why we end up on banned book lists. Because you cannot help but empathize with this person. So it's really, again, making you look at situations and say, what else could be true? What's the other side of the story? What are we missing before making an assumption? You also have the perspective, I believe this is the one where you have the perspective of the gun itself, which I thought was really unique. But yeah, Jodi always pushes that envelope. She has a book called The Pact, which talks about a suicide pact. I'm sure that is banned as well. She's a book called Mercy that talks about a husband and wife where the wife is dying and asks the husband to basically help her move on. Just all of her books tend to be a bit controversial. She lands on the banned book lists so many times. And some of the reasons that I have seen are not even themes in the book. Like one of them was like romantic, like around a romantic theme. There was no romance in the book whatsoever. And so it drives me absolutely crazy when people decide to ban a book and they haven't even read it. Anyways, 19 Minutes, I highly, highly suggest this book. I suggest all of these. Another one I haven't read yet, I'm picking up because it tends to make every banned book list. Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. It's a book about banning books. We have a guy, he's a fireman whose job it was to set fires, and he enjoyed his job. He'd been a fireman for 10 years, and he'd never questioned the pleasure of the midnight runs, nor the joy of watching pages consumed by flames. Never questioned anything until he met a 17-year-old girl who told him of a past when people were not afraid. Then Guy met a professor who told him of a future in which people could think, and Guy suddenly realized what he had to do. So this is on my list. Actually, this would be a great book to read this week. I wonder if I could fit this in. Maybe. It's not that long. Last book I want to talk about. I find this slightly hilarious. Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. This is on quite a few lists that I've seen of banned books. It's funny that it's just this one because this is the second book in a series, and the same themes that are reasons why this should be banned are in the other two books. So the other two are fine apparently, but this one is not. It does get pretty steamy. I'm going to be completely honest. Absolutely gets pretty steamy. Would I allow my 12-year-old daughter to read this right now? Nope, absolutely not. Would I let my 14-year-old high schooler one? I don't know. I'm not sure. We'd have to talk about it. But please leave that decision up to me. Don't take a book off the shelf. I just do find it funny that it is, because it's the middle of a series. Wouldn't you ban the whole series? I don't know. I'm being judgmental. I should not. But this one I can't tell you much about because it is the second in a book. The ACOTAR, A Court of Thorns and Roses is the first book by Sarah J. Maas. It follows our main character. What is her name? Farah. She finds herself in a bit of a predicament and has to go live with the fairies because she accidentally maybe killed one of their own. But she had to feed her family. I mean, give her a break, right? So she has to go live with the fairies and in this world, and she gets immersed in with some terrible people, some fantastic people, some seems like terrible people, yet could be fantastic people. I don't know. I don't want to tell you too much. It is one of my favorites, and lives on my shelf forever. And I even still have like little taps in here of great little lines. So anyways, also banned, FYI. Those were the pile of banned books that I have on my shelves. There are definitely more. And And knowing some of the reasons people ban certain books, I'm like, that could ban so many. Anyways, I'll get off of my soapbox. Please don't ban books. If you have any comments or want to chat below, absolutely, I will wholeheartedly have conversations with you. I love finding you in the comments. Otherwise, head over to Sarah's channel and see what she has for us today. But yeah, have a really great rest of the week. We will see you next time. Bye.